Web3 games have quickly pushed game economies to the forefront of players' minds when evaluating the latest releases. Now more than ever, the need for a well-balanced game economy is critical to any project's future. Machinations is a visual tool specifically built for creating and testing game economies. As a Turing-complete system, the 11 objects allow us to simulate any type of game logic. Let's first have a look at the challenges that Web3 game developers are facing. Here we have an abstract view of the typical core game loop. The player completes an action in the game, they are rewarded, the player then has the opportunity to reinvest these rewards in the game. This could be in the form of unlocking the next level, receiving an amazing new sword, or upgrading the character stats. In Web3 projects, we are adding a new path for players that enables them to exchange some of their in-game rewards with other players. Rather than just thinking about one player's progression, games will have lots of these individual progression systems happening at the same time. As new players join at different times, we can end up with a complex combination of different player economies at different stages all the time. These players can now interact with each other through marketplaces and token exchanges to sell their items or even cash out. Players can also buy items via these marketplaces, adding further complexity for game designers to manage. Now, one player's activity can impact every other player in the system, as well as external influences of changes in the cryptocurrency marketplaces. Machinations are now working with Web3 game developers to enable them to test their game economies before launch, and then consistently monitor their economies for signs of instability. This allows developers to make small, well-tested changes to the game economy to maintain stability well before they get caught in runaway inflation or deflation.
Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So I'm going to do another video about DeFi kingdoms, but instead of playing on the Harmony blockchain, which is what I've been doing so far, I'm going to play on the Avalanche blockchain. So that's the new sort of version of the game that's just come out, and that's sort of the ice world. So I've logged into Avalanche with my using MetaMask. So now let's see what happens when we start playing. So we can see here. It's picked up that I'm on Avalanche, and it's sort of taken me to the snow. I think it's called Crystal Vale. I think it's called. So we're going to get a tutorial through the Avalanche part of the game. Obviously, some people coming to the Avalanche game won't have played the Harmony game, so probably some of it I can skip. But let's see what we go on. Right. So. I have some Avalanche. I don't need to do any of that. So I guess this is moving it around from tablets. Purchase some, swap for Jewel, travel to Crystal Vale. So I think I'll go straight to Crystal Vale because I think I just swap some Avalanche tokens for Jewel in the game. I think. Make sure you have bridged Jewel over so you complete transactions. Maybe I need. Because this is. I think actually they are. Let's see how we get on. It may be that it sounds like I'm going to need some Jewel. Because they are maybe running also on their own chain. Okay, let's try that. Move some Jewel to get started. So let's see. Already flush with Jewel. Bring it over to Crystal Vale to start playing. Bridge tokens from Avalanche. So they have this DeFi Kingdoms chain. Actually, let's just go. Let's not do that now. Let's go in and see what happens in there. I assume I won't be able to do any transactions if I haven't bridged the Jewel over. Right, so what's this going to do? So actually, this isn't sort of running on the Avalanche blockchain. This is actually running on their own. So with Avalanche, I suppose we should, as much as I technically understand it, with Avalanche you have the idea of subnets. So a bit like Polygon has its own parachains. So Avalanche, the way it sort of works out how to deal with transactions quickly is things can run effectively on their own sort of blockchain, which is part of the whole Avalanche structure. But they are sort of separate blockchains. So we can see here, it's going to bring up a custom thing here. So you can obviously get the warning saying, MetaMask saying we have no idea what this blockchain is. Okay, so make sure you've bridged Jewel over. So I'm going to have to do that. So move bridge. So already flush with so bridge Jewel step 1. Okay. So how's this going to work? So this is from the Avalanche main chain. Now I wonder what's this going to be, 1 Jewel or 1? So I need Joule on the Avalanche blockchain to put it on the DeFi Kingdoms chain. Okay, so this is even more complicated than I thought. So because I have Avalanche, I have the AVAX token, but I don't have any Joule on that one. So how am I going to do that? That's interesting. So we can see here, even if I did do that, if I sort of did 10, I'm going to lose. There's a transaction fee there when you go through the bridge because you're going across blockchains. I guess I can. I don't think it's going to work because I haven't gotten there because it's nothing there. Okay, so actually what I've done now, which is probably the way to do it in the first place. I don't know why they've done it this way. Anyway, so what I've done now is I've gone back to the Harmony, the original DeFi Kingdoms version. So you can see I've got 8.4 joules running on the Harmony blockchain. And so I can take 3 of those and bridge them over to the DeFi Kingdoms chain. Now I'm just doing approval. So approval just means that the smart contract can use my tokens. And then when that goes through, then I can do the bridge. So you always have bridging if you're moving between blockchains. Blockchains are totally separate computer systems. So basically the bridge, as it sounds, is a way of transferring tokens between blockchains, and they work in different ways. And generally they're a massive security risk, depending on how you set them up. Yeah. And the other thing with bridges is they can take quite a long time because instead of just doing a transaction, you do the transaction, then you have to wait for a number of transactions until you have, what they call, until the transaction is properly confirmed and can't be sort of rolled back. And that depends a little bit on the structure of the blockchain. Okay, so now we can bridge these through. Again, it's going to take another transaction and another period of waiting around. So let's wait for that. So hopefully at the end of this, I'll be able to play. Oh, has that gone through then? That seems to have gone quite quickly then. Okay, so I think I was just waiting around for the confirmation that I needed to get those tokens over the bridge, because basically I was just clicking around, couldn't work out what was going on. Anyway, it does seem to work now. So I do seem to have 2.95 Joule tokens on this DeFi Kingdoms blockchain. Now, quite what I can do, I don't know. So there's some similar things here to the Harmony one, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that isn't sort of working yet. So if I go to Gardens, so the Gardens, you do some liquidity provision. So go to the seed box. So if I have, so we can see here in total, it looks like there's $90 million worth of value in here. And basically, if you do the liquidity provision, you get Crystal. So Crystal is Crystal is the game token in this version of the game, whereas Joule is the sort of the native token. So it's all built on top. Crystal is built on top of Joule. But you can get, you have to always be careful with these APRs. But you get, because basically what you're doing is you're getting Crystal token by, that's sort of what the reward you're getting is based in Crystal token. And you have to be careful about impermanence loss, which is basically like when you put in equal amounts of these to tokens, the ratio will change over time. So either the value of one will go up or down, and basically you put in 50-50, and when you come to take them out, you'll have probably not 50-50. You'll end up with a lot more of one than the other. And that basically means if you kept your money in the one that the price went up in compared to dollars, you would do much better than doing liquidity provision, potentially even with these large percentages. But there we go. We can see here. So the most money has gone into, I don't know where that 89.5 million is coming from then. Okay, so we have some, it's a 5 million deposit, 5 million deposit, 3 million, 4 million. Oh, that's what's gone from 66. So basically the main deposit is people are depositing the Joule token and the X Joule, which is the stake Joule token. That's where most of it is coming from. And you can see here that's getting, the emissions rate there is 6.5 crystals per second, because obviously crystal is just a token they've invented, and that's being minted every block. So 7 crystals being created per block, 420 crystals per minute, and then those are being rewarded across these different liquid provision pools. I don't know which one of these is the best to do, really. It doesn't really make a lot of odds, does it? But I'm going to have to, in order to do that, I have to go to marketplace. Before we do that, normally we would go when the game is sort of properly live, you go to the tavern, and one of the big things would be you go and buy some characters. So there's no, this sort of stuff is not there yet. So the NFTs are not live on this blockchain yet. So the only bit that's live is basically the DeFi bit. So I'm not looking at any of the other stuff. So any of the sort of leveling up or any of the summoning stuff, because that's not live yet. This is sort of a game that's sort of obviously behind the main Harmony blockchain version of the game. But we can go to the marketplace, and I have 2 jewels. So I can do 1 jewel, and I can swap it for, remember now, which one do I need to do? Jewel and crystal, I think, yeah. So I can swap 1 jewel and I will get that much crystal. So obviously this is a tiny amount of actual sort of value. You wouldn't do this to make money because it's such a small amount, but this is just to demonstrate what happens. So I'm going to swap that, confirm the swap. I'm going to have to do a blockchain transaction. In this case, it's using up Joule, which is the underlying token of this subnet. I could add crystal to my MetaMask, but I won't. So I'll just wait for that to happen. And it shows it's pending up there. And assuming that's going to go through, I don't know how long that's going to take. I would then go back to Gardens. There it goes. So now I can deposit here. So obviously you have to have, not obviously, but you do have to have equal amounts. So I need to, it's going to work. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to put in that amount of crystal. It's going to be basically 1 joule because that's what I just did it out. I'm going to have to do another transaction to approve crystal. So obviously it's the first time I've had this crystal token. So the first time you do that, you always have to go for an approval process. As I say, this is 1 joule at the moment is about $2. So I'm putting in the grand total of about $4 worth of value. So you wouldn't do this normally. But there we go. So and now I'm going to basically I'm combining these 2 together. So this is, they call it creating seeds. But basically I was adding the equal amounts of these tokens together, and basically you end up with another token. Is that gone through? Looks like it has. So we can come out of that, and then hopefully it's gonna let me deposit those in. Right, has it come through? Okay, so I can deposit. Do I have any yet? It's not showing up. Oh yeah, so I have 1.7875 of these crystal jewel LP tokens. Deposit those. Gonna do the maximum amount. Again, have to approve it first because it's a new token. So you can see why you would normally, if you're doing this seriously, not investment advice, you would do this for slightly more value than having sort of $4 worth. Because even $4 for a year at 800% is is not going to be very much. Okay, now I'm going to deposit them. Okay. But as ever with these sort of things, it's always good to do it with small amounts first, just to check it works, to check you sort of understand what's going on. If you're being very serious about it, you'd unstake everything after you've done it, just to make sure you understand the process of how it all comes out again. I've done liquidity stuff before, so that doesn't bother me too much. So we can see here, that's my deposit. Obviously, I'm not really unclaiming. I'm not. There's nothing for me to claim at the moment because it's literally gone through and it's a tiny amount, so it's so small you can't even see what's going on there. But if I was going to go in here, you can see it. So we can see here now. So there's a locking rate, so you can't sort of take stuff out. So if I claim now. You can claim now and basically lose some of your rewards. But you can see here I've got this amount of unlocked crystal, 0.000001, and this amount of locked crystal. So over time, depending on how the unlocking process happens, this unlocked crystal will sort of feed into this locked crystal, and I can claim it. But obviously wouldn't do it for that tiny amount of time. So that's that. Only other thing I guess I could do is you probably, if I remember where to do it, we got it somewhere. The jewels. So here you can deposit crystal tokens. So you deposit crystal tokens and own 1/3 of the generated trading fee. So when people are swapping, you get a percentage of that. So if I had any crystal, which I don't, I could do that, and that's basically exactly the same as the on the Harmony version of the game. You can lock in the dual crystals, and you get an X dual, which is basically your staked or your locked balance that you also then gain these trading fees off of. So broadly, very similar sort of functionality on the Avalanche version compared to the Harmony version. Apart from this is different sort of artwork. There's no land on this either. Obviously, no characters either. This is a bit different as well. The cradle. So in the Harmony version, there's a big castle. In this one, they have the cradle, which is this big Chinese dragon type thing. I'm not quite sure what's going to be going on here because it's not done yet. But obviously, the extra functionality will come from this these characters. So, I mean, the one thing I would say about the Avalanche version of the game, obviously, it gets you into a new sort of audience of people. Harmony, I think, is sort of Avalanche is a sort of up and coming blockchain. So maybe there'll be people interested in what's going on Avalanche. So it may allow you to onboard new users who aren't playing the Harmony version. But equally, as you sort of understood, I think I'm someone who's fairly experienced at doing these sort of interacting with these blockchain games and projects. It's not always very easy, and if you didn't know what you were doing, I could very easily think this is much too much friction to be thinking about, particularly when it's like, this is running on the Avalanche blockchain, and actually no, it's not. It's running on its own sort of subnet of the Harmony blockchain. So lots of confusion there. Onboarding is always a big problem for blockchain games, and seems to continue to be so. And that's just something I guess we deal with sort of over time, and developers get better at doing it, and blockchains get sort of easier to interact with. But there we go. This is DeFi Kingdoms running on the version of the Harmony blockchain. Avalanche blockchain, goodness, so confusing. Anyway, thanks for watching this blockchain gaming world. Please subscribe to the channel. See you again soon.